Never did I think something as simple as phlegm could take so much from me. It stole my breath, my rest, and my peace. It started with a dry cough, the kind you think will just pass. But as days went by, it grew deeper, stickier, more annoying. Then came that feeling of having something trapped in my chest, as if I couldn't breathe fully. I would wake up in the middle of the night with a cough that seemed endless. I'd sit up in bed, drink water, try to take deep breaths, but that choking feeling was always there, like my bronchi were blocked. During the day, my throat felt heavy, as if something was stuck that wouldn't come out with coughing or medicine. I spoke little because it tired me. I went out less because I was embarrassed to cough in public. I tried everything, syrups, pills, inhalers. Some helped a little, but the problem came back, sometimes stronger. The most frustrating part was that doctors told me it wasn't serious. "It's normal," they repeated, as if living like that was something you just had to accept. But I didn't accept it. One day, in a conversation with an old friend, I heard about a plant he had been taking for years. He said it was a natural remedy, one of those you don't see advertised on TV, but that really works. He explained how, since he started taking it, the phlegm disappeared and he could breathe freely again. It sounded exaggerated, but when you've tried everything and nothing works, any ray of hope is welcome. Today, I want to tell you what that plant is, and even more important, how to use it so it works for you from day one. Because it's not just about taking something, it's about understanding what's happening inside you and how you can help your body free itself from that burden that won't let it breathe. I promise you, if you keep watching this video, you will discover a real alternative, not miraculous, but powerful. Before continuing, tell me one thing. How old are you, and from which country are you watching this? I would love to know, because we're in this together, and maybe your story is more like mine than you imagine. Most people don't pay attention to it until it bothers them, but phlegm is something we all have every day, and as unpleasant as it sounds, it actually serves a vital function, protecting us. Phlegm, or thick mucus, is a substance the body naturally produces to trap dust, bacteria, viruses, and other particles we breathe in. It mainly forms in the lungs and bronchi and acts as a kind of internal barrier. It's like an invisible filter that prevents those harmful substances from reaching more sensitive parts of our body. When we're healthy, the amount of mucus is very small, so mild that we don't even notice it. The body produces it, moves it, and eliminates it automatically. But the problem begins when that production gets out of control or becomes thicker and more abundant than normal. Why does this happen? There can be several causes. A simple cold can trigger mucus production, as can a lung infection, a sudden change in weather, or even environmental dust. It also happens often in allergic people, those with bronchitis, COPD, or asthma. With age, this problem becomes more frequent. The respiratory system loses efficiency in clearing phlegm, and the muscles that help cough it out weaken. That makes, little by little, the airways fill up with a sticky substance that should be leaving, but doesn't. And that's when phlegm stops being a defense and starts becoming a threat. When it accumulates excessively, it can partially block the bronchi, making breathing difficult and creating the perfect environment for bacteria to multiply. Many times, this results in a respiratory infection or a chronic cough that disrupts sleep, speech, and eating peacefully. And in older people, it can even be the start of pneumonia, if not treated in time. The feeling of having something stuck in the throat or chest is not just uncomfortable. It's a signal from the body we shouldn't ignore. It's not normal to have constant phlegm. It's a warning that the body is trying to clean something, but needs help to do it. That's why it's so important to understand what causes it, how it behaves, and what can be done to expel it naturally, without harsh medicines or syrups that only numb symptoms. In the following parts, I will share how I managed to clear my lungs and throat of that persistent phlegm using simple, natural, and above all, safe methods. But first, I want to tell you how I discovered one of the most effective remedies I've ever tried in my life. And no, No doctor told me about it. For years I thought what I felt was just a little cough. That feeling of something in my throat in the mornings, that constant need to clear my voice, that fatigue that stayed with me even after 8 hours of sleep. I accepted it as part of aging. But what I didn't know, and learned too late, was that all of this had one common enemy: accumulated phlegm. When you're young, the body reacts quickly. The immune system works like a cleaning crew that acts as soon as something is out of place. But after 60 or 70 years, that system slows down. It no longer responds with the same strength or speed. That means a simple mucus, a light congestion, can stay longer than it should, accumulating in the lungs, throat, and even the sinuses. What seems like a minor annoyance turns into a bigger problem. That thick phlegm that feels trapped not only is annoying, it blocks breathing, forces the lungs to work harder, and over time can lead to serious respiratory infections like bronchitis or pneumonia. And not only that, it also steals energy. Yes, phlegm can take your energy. I never imagined that daily tiredness, shortness of breath walking a few meters, or that heaviness in the chest wasn't just because I was old. I didn't know it was the phlegm stealing my energy. The constant mucus buildup forces the body to spend resources fighting internal inflammation that doesn't go away. The chest feels tighter. Climbing stairs becomes a feat, and when night comes, instead of resting, you start coughing. Sleep is interrupted. The body doesn't recover. And so, a cycle forms that seems impossible to break. What's most alarming is that many symptoms go unnoticed. A mild but persistent cough, a deep sigh that doesn't fill the lungs, that feeling of having something stuck that never goes away. Many older people ignore them or confuse them with allergies, reflux, or just things that come with age. But it's not just age. It's the body asking for help. If you or someone close to you is over 60 and has been coughing without explanation, breathing with difficulty, or simply feeling more tired than usual, it could be more than fatigue. It could be that phlegm no one sees, but that slowly drains energy and opens the door to more serious diseases. That's why it's so important to recognize it, understand it, and act before it causes greater harm. Because yes, there is a way to reduce that phlegm naturally, and very soon I will talk to you about it. But first, let me tell you how I found that solution, almost by accident. Now, a few months ago, I met Clara, a 75-year-old woman with a smile so warm that for a moment you'd forget she was sick. But behind that smile was a story many share in silence. Clara told me she had been fighting a persistent cough for over 5 years. It wasn't the flu. It wasn't allergies. It was a constant feeling of having something in her throat. Sometimes the phlegm came up on its own. Other times it got stuck, making her voice sound hoarse and strained. Talking with her grandchildren, singing at one of their birthdays, or simply telling a story was harder than it should have been. She had tried syrups, pills, infusions, visits to the ENT specialist, breathing tests. Everything indicated she was fine, but she knew she wasn't fine. The feeling was real, even if no one could explain it. Clara confessed something she didn't dare tell her family. She was afraid to fall asleep at night. She felt the phlegm built up so much that lying down, she could choke. That anxiety made her sleep poorly, waking up with an irritated throat and a tight chest. The worst wasn't the phlegm itself, she told me. It was the feeling that something was wrong inside my body. And no one believed me. I also met Ernesto, an 81-year-old man who had been a tenor in his church choir for more than 3 decades. His voice was his pride. But over time, he noticed he couldn't hold notes anymore. His throat closed up, his voice became rough, and a dry cough interrupted songs. He was the first to quit the choir, and the last to accept something was wrong. What broke him wasn't the diagnosis, it was the silence. The feeling that no one understood what he was losing, his voice, his joy, his connection with others. Both stories share something in common. It's not just a physical symptom, it's an emotional loss. Because when you feel you can't breathe well, that your voice no longer sounds the same, that every word costs effort. You don't just lose air, you lose presence. You lose part of yourself. If you also feel it's hard to speak clearly, that you constantly feel phlegm in your throat, or that you no longer sing like before, this is for you. Because you're not alone. And although many keep it quiet, phlegm can change your life more than you imagine. Hug. The plant that woman recommended to me at the plaza is called turmeric. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a root with a deep orange color that has been used for centuries, especially in traditional Indian and Asian medicine. Its scientific name is Curcuma longa, and it belongs to the same family as ginger. What's curious is that although many know it as a cooking spice, it is actually one of the most powerful plants to fight inflammation, cleanse the body, and, what surprised me most, improve respiratory health and reduce phlegm buildup. For generations, in villages in India and Southeast Asia, turmeric has been part of home remedies to treat colds, bronchitis and congestion. Grandmothers prepared an infusion with hot milk, a teaspoon of turmeric, and a bit of black pepper. They called it golden milk and said it was better than any pharmacy syrup. Modern science later confirmed what those grandmothers knew from experience. Turmeric contains an active compound called curcumin, a potent natural anti-inflammatory. This compound acts directly on the immune system and helps reduce inflammation in tissues, including those in the lungs and airways. And why is that so important? When our lungs are inflamed, they produce more mucus. That phlegm we feel when coughing, that constant chest discomfort, is not just excess secretions, it's a sign something is irritated or inflamed inside. Turmeric works by reducing that inflammation, which in turn decreases phlegm production and helps clear the airways naturally. Additionally, it has antioxidant properties that protect cells from damage and mild antibacterial effects, meaning it can also help fight mild infections without harsh medicines. I didn't understand any of this when I started. I just followed the advice of that lady, who swore that since she started taking her turmeric infusion every morning, she no longer had coughing fits or felt loaded like before. I decided to try it, and soon felt how my breathing became cleaner, lighter. It wasn't magic. It was something deeper, my body reacting gratefully to something that truly helped it. It's incredible how sometimes the most effective answers aren't hidden in laboratories, but in nature and in the wisdom of our elders. Tank. As weeks went by, I started to notice real changes. My knees no longer swelled so much after walking. My hands, which used to be stiff in the mornings, now responded better. It wasn't a miraculous transformation overnight, but it was constant, quiet, effective. Then I decided to do something I had never done with any medicine I'd been given: research on my own. I wanted to understand why this oil worked when so many pills barely helped me. The oil I'm talking about is copaiba oil. It comes from a tree that grows in the Amazon and has been used by indigenous peoples for centuries. They used it not only for physical pain, but also for infections, wounds, and respiratory problems. They didn't talk about anti-inflammatories or active compounds, but they knew from experience it worked. They applied it on the skin, inhaled its vapors, and some even drank it as an infusion. Today, science has studied it in more detail. Various analyses have confirmed this oil contains a component called beta-caryophyllene, which acts on a human body system called the endocannabinoid system. In simple terms, it helps reduce inflammation without damaging the stomach, liver, or blood pressure, as many traditional medicines do. A study published by a university in Brazil, where copaiba oil is widely used, found that arthritis patients noticed significant improvements in mobility and pain after a few weeks of daily topical use. And most importantly, no adverse effects were reported. You don't need to understand complicated medical terms to notice the difference. What I felt was simple: less swelling, less stiffness, more freedom to move. And all that, without pills, without chemicals, without fear. Of course, it's not a magic cure. It's not like taking a pill and forgetting the problem. but it's a natural option that respects the body's pace and doesn't force it like aggressive treatments do. It's curious how something used by entire generations in isolated communities, passed from grandparents to grandchildren without prescriptions, today seems more effective than many modern products filling our pharmacies. Maybe it's time to recognize that ancient wisdom is not opposed to science, but often one step ahead. After learning this, I never saw copaiba oil as just a home remedy again. I saw it as a powerful, natural, and underestimated tool. Something that had been within everyone's reach, but no one had told me about. And that made me think, how many other things don't they tell us? How many solutions are out there, silenced by habit, interests, or simply ignorance? Duh. How and when to take it. With natural remedies, the secret is consistency. It's not like taking a pill that numbs pain for a few hours. This is different. It's slower, but also deeper and longer lasting. And if used correctly, it can change your life. That's why I want to tell you exactly how I started taking the oil, when I took it, and what results I noticed over time. First, the basics. The oil I'm talking about is turmeric oil with black pepper, cold pressed. You can find it in capsules or liquid drops, but I used the liquid version, 100% natural, without additives. I started taking a small teaspoon each morning on an empty stomach, mixed with a little warm water or natural juice. This helps the body absorb it better. It's also possible to take it before bed if the pain is worse at night, as was my case. The first rule is this: don't skip days. As simple as it seems, the body needs to receive this oil consistently, so its anti-inflammatory compounds can have a cumulative effect. Now, what can you expect? In my case, after the first day, I noticed a slight improvement in morning stiffness. It wasn't a miracle, but it was something different. I didn't take so long to unfreeze when I got up. After 3 days, joint pain when walking was less sharp. I felt like the inflammation was slowly going down. I even slept better because the nighttime discomfort also started to ease. By the end of the week, it was as if my legs had rejuvenated 5 years. I walked taller, climbed stairs with less effort, and could stand longer without tiring quickly. Of course, everybody is different. Some people feel better in 2 or 3 days. Others take 2 weeks. But the important thing is not to give up. It's giving your body time to respond. An important tip I learned along the way: accompany the oil with good hydration and light eating. Plenty of water, little salt, and no fried foods. That boosts the oil's effect and helps the body reduce inflammation from within. I also discovered that a massage with the same oil on the most painful areas, especially at night, can be doubly effective. While you take it internally, it also works externally. That combination was what made the difference for me. It's not necessary to take it for life. After 3 or 4 weeks of daily use, many people reduce the dose to alternate days or only when there is pain. But at first, to really work, give your body the chance to feel it every day. Remember, this oil isn't magic. It's nature in its purest form. If you give it the respect and discipline it deserves, it can return something you started losing without realizing it: your mobility, your energy, and your peace of mind. So far, I've told you about my personal experience with this natural oil and how it helped me reduce inflammation and regain mobility. But if I've learned anything over the years, it's that when it comes to health, caution always comes first. That's why, before you rush to buy it or start using it, I want to talk to you clearly about something equally important: warnings. Yes, it's true that turmeric oil can offer real benefits for joints, but it's also true that not everyone can use it the same way or in any circumstance. Turmeric, for example, has natural blood-thinning properties. That means it can interfere with medications that already do that, like warfarin, clopidogrel, or even aspirin if taken in high doses regularly. If you're taking any of these drugs, it's essential to consult your doctor before starting to use the oil, even if it's natural. You should also not abuse the dose. Some people seeing improvement believe more is better and start using double or triple. Big mistake. Everything, even natural things, can cause harm if misused. Overdoing it can cause nausea, stomach discomfort, or even upset other body functions. Remember, consistency is more important than quantity. Another fundamental point is that every body is different. What helped me may not work the same for everyone. Some people may be allergic or sensitive to certain natural components, especially if they have conditions like biliary problems, stomach ulcers, or liver failure. And although this oil is applied topically in many cases, some also take it orally. In that case, even more caution is needed. Any ingested supplement must be used responsibly, especially in older adults taking multiple daily medications. I don't want to scare you with this message, but I do want to make one thing clear. Natural doesn't always mean harmless. Snake venom is natural too, but you wouldn't drink it. That's why my sincerest advice is this. Talk to your doctor if you take regular medication, especially blood thinners, anti-diabetics, or if you have chronic conditions. Bring the information, ask questions, and if your doctor doesn't know it, ask them to research it with you. This is no shortcut or miracle path. It's a process of discovery and responsibility. And if you decide to try this oil, do it with respect, moderation, and intelligence, because your health deserves it. Since I discovered this oil, my body changed, but not only physically. I felt in control of my steps, my days, my decisions again. Nights are no longer a battle. I lie down and get up without fear of pain. I no longer spend hours awake staring at the ceiling with tense shoulders and a burning back. My throat breathes more calmly. I no longer cough all night. I sing again in the shower. And that, although it seems small, is a huge sign that something inside me is healing. That it's not too late to improve, to live with more calm, with less weight on body and soul. Many people wait until they are very ill to act, to change what they eat, what they use, what they let into their body. But I learned, sometimes painfully, that you don't have to wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you're sick to take care of yourself. Don't wait until you feel destroyed to give yourself a chance. There are things that do work. There are gentler solutions, more respectful of our bodies. And sometimes they're right there, within reach, but no one talks about them. That's why I made this video. To tell you what no one told me. To give you one more option. And to let you know there are still paths to walk without pain. Now I want to hear from you. How old are you? And from which country are you watching me? Tell me in the comments. I love reading you. It makes me feel accompanied. It reminds me that even though we are in different parts of the world, we are not alone in this. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for listening.
And I hope this little oil can also return to you something you thought you had lost.